In terms of materials, you can use a huge range of things in macrame, and it really depends on your project. So starting on the smaller scale, you can use things like very thin yarns, you can use even threads, you can use wax jewellery cord, very fine cords that you can use. And usually projects like that, you would focus on maybe fine jewellery like earrings and bracelets, even things like small keychains you can use in terms of smaller materials there. However, as a beginner, I would usually steer clear of that at the moment there, just because I find that these materials are so fine to work with and so delicate. It's not quite as tactile. It can be very difficult as well to see the actual knots because you're working on such a small scale. And I also find that it can become very easily tangled and twisted. So as a beginner, I wouldn't jump to that immediately, but it can definitely be something to look at maybe down the line there. But that's really for much smaller, much finer projects. Then going up to kind of the middle ground there, that's when you usually find things like macrame cord itself, string, twine, things kind of in the middle ground there. And in terms of projects, that's quite versatile. So you can still do things like slightly chunkier keychains, but then you can focus on plant hangers, garlands, wall hangings, coasters, tablecloths, a lot more range of things that you can work in that kind of middle ground in terms of materials. And then to the other end of the scale, working on much larger projects, you can look at things like paracord and rope, and you can get rope in different thicknesses as well. So depends on the project that you're working on, but larger projects can consist of much larger wall hangings, hammocks, egg chairs, things like that. So it really does depend on the size of project being one of the key elements there in terms of your materials.